I've been watching a lot of these survivalist channels the last couple of days on YouTube, and frankly, I'm a little bit alarmed that the approach that some of these people are using to how to prepare best for a crisis in this country, I think that some of it could cause some overreaction, such as right off the bat saying you got to have a gun and beware your neighbor's going to come and shoot you and all this kind of shit. I think that these people mean well, but the number one thing that is most important is to just do your research and prepare your mind for these situations. Don't panic. Don't run out buying guns and all that kind of thing, because bottom line is that guns aren't going to do anybody any good in a serious crisis in this country. There is no more Wild West. You know, many of us have heard all the stories about the Illuminati and the Freemasons and all these other kind of covert organizations that already have control of people in this country and in the world, for that matter. And a lot of it's true, I believe, and I think that the world is being run today by corporations because the movement of money is what keeps the world running. And who better to implement the movement of money than big corporations? It's because of this greed of the West that we're all just in this frenzy and this constant hunger for more, better. I honestly believe that if there is a real serious government crisis, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to freeze all money. What better way to slow down or stop people than going right to their wallet? The banks will have all these closures, and they'll just shut their doors and have armed guards out there and tell people to stay away. And people will be panicking in the street. They'll be running around saying how rotten our government is and all that shit. There could be rioting and looting, and so we'll be in a state of lockdown. First thing that will happen will be a state of martial law, and we'll all be asked first to stay home with our families and await further notice from people like the president. And there'll be, a lot of time to think about calming down and reevaluate our situation. And the government's going to have their plan in place to keep the rioting and looting and all these other kind of things to a minimum. But the way they will do it is by having police and military out in the streets, ordering people into their homes. They will shoot you if you don't cooperate. They don't have time to negotiate with you on every little petty complaint that you might have. So they need to seize control of the masses first, and that's what I believe they would do. After all, we're talking about controlling over 300 million people that are used to having freedom to move about and drive their cars and shop and go to their jobs and get their paycheck and buy their groceries and go about their everyday business. But in a serious crisis, we're all going to be told to stand still and get into our houses. And in the meantime, the government's going to be scrambling to check out everybody's background, and they're going to have known criminals that are going to be rounded up. They could be just incarcerated in high schools or gymnasiums and things like that. They'll sort them out first, and then they'll go after the mentally ill or people who are in need of constant medical attention. They'll sort them out, and they will put them in some kind of containment facility. Then what they're going to do is they will round up all the senior citizens who are living primarily on Social Security, put us in another place. They'll sort us all out. And they'll do this all under the pretense or the intention, at the very least, of giving us protection. That's the old philosophy of divide and conquer. And what better way to do that than to start going through systematically by people's public records and by police records and medical histories, all these kinds of things, and sort us out. And then they have to make sense of each of these groups and decide what to do with them. People that are considered non-assets might actually be euthanized, and people who are considered worthy of protection will be put in another group of people. The wealthy will be allowed to stay in their homes temporarily, and then they will go about having like public meetings among the wealthy to decide how they're going to go about sharing their assets. If they're unwilling to share their assets, then the government will seize their property and their assets and take them out. Just move them in with the millions of other people of the have-nots. And if they don't want to cooperate, hey, that's just the way it's going to be. It isn't like America hasn't suffered from calamity in its past. Back in the days of the pioneers that first came to America and had to forage a living through the brush and the trees and cut down timber to build their homes and hunt the forests to find food and then deal with the natives. They thought of the natives as their enemy, so they did whatever they could to take them out and just literally raped this country so that they could take it over. The same kind of people that said they didn't want to live under those kind of conditions in Britain and other parts of the world came here and brought that same exact philosophy. Divide and conquer. Divide and conquer. And that's what they obviously were capable of achieving. So now's the time we got to pay for all this greed and racism, hatred for other people that come from different countries. And we have to do something to protect our sovereignty in the world. And this may be the only answer. People are concerned about what's going to happen with Trump in office. Frankly, I think he's just another puppet like every president we've ever had. The government just figures, well, hey, this is the right guy for this time. Let's make sure he gets in office, and because he's really relevant right now for the particular kinds of problems we're having. And that's why they made sure to have a black president. They figured, wow, let's have a black president so that maybe we can appease all the poor, uh, uh, less educated Americans into thinking that there's someone out there to help them, that someone that really cares about what they need. It was just to quell the panic. Um, and he's really quite a talker, you got to admit. He has done a lot to uh, make people feel a little more comfortable by having things like this, the Obamacare and all that, and now veterans of every war are capable of using veterans' medical benefits, whether that was military connected or not. And I'm one of those people. I don't have a disability, but I was in the military, and I served in Vietnam. Um, Actually, I do have a disability. I'm still pretty fucked up after being over there. Uh, but the government doesn't think that it's service connected, so I don't get anything from the government. And it's probably just as well, because if we get into a crisis situation, we probably won't have any government entitlement programs at all. Social Security will probably be ended as it is today. If it's even around at all, it'll be, at the very least, altered considerably. We can't afford to have nobody working and nobody paying taxes to keep the financial system moving to pay benefits out to people. It's all going to be going for national defense. So everything's going to be reallocated and fucked up, and you go to the bank and there's not going to be any money for you. You have a stockpile of money under your bed. That's not going to do you any good, because money will probably be declared illegal tender, to where it ain't going to do you any good anyway to have it, because that, if you have money, that gives the have-nots more of a reason to come to your home to rob you. But if money's worth nothing, hey, what are they going to get? They're going to be going after things like food, water, shelter, guns. So all this kind of shit is just all going to be sorted out by the government, best case scenario. And so they'll try to avoid having another situation like in New Orleans, or when a tsunami hits, all these different things, or an earthquake where there's tremendous amounts of damage. They'll try to lessen the impact as much as they can. So it makes no sense to get out there and panic and run around like a survivalist and all that shit. The best thing to do is just stay close to your family and try to communicate better with them about how you're going to take care of each other no matter what. And if you have food to share, you got to share your food with your family and friends. I believe there's a way around all this stress. I believe that there is a way to survive this situation, as long as we don't start letting all of our old ideas of greed and anger and frustration and hatred overcome us. That's pretty much what I got to say about this situation.